Welcome to Ex Machina. Join us as we explore the mysteries of this world. Cryptids, monsters, macabre tales, and horror stories abound. Could they be true? Are monsters real?
Good evening, folks, and thank you for joining us on another edition of DEA Ex Machina. In the house tonight with me is Robbie Rip Rains, and Kerry Pocket Doc Davis has been sighted. It's a confirmed sighting. He's actually here. Boys, how the hell are you?
Just glad Doc's back.
Wyatt, I am rolling.
Hell yeah. The boys are back in town. Just need Steve, but Steve's on vacation tonight, so he won't be with us. He's visiting his parents up in Farmington, Missouri, so he's not even at home to jump in the studio. But I think between the three of us, I think we can hopefully entertain y'all for a little bit. Boys, what have you guys been up to? I know Doc's been busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest, but, how you been?
That's about it, man. That's about it. Just been on the road a good bit. Finally got me a little time off. My other guys are filling in for some classes for me, thankfully. So just glad to be able to get back on and hang out with y'all.
We are damn glad to have you back with us, man.
It's good to be had.
We got a pretty big crowd in the house already tonight. Man, the chat is flying.
Already up to 98.
Dang.
Woohoo!
Right along. We had a great time the other night. Unfortunately, Doc wasn't with us. And one of the things that we talked about there toward the end of the show was a recording that was made about, what did you say, Robbie, about 5 miles from your house?
No, my house is probably about 10 or 15. It's about 5 from my dad's house.
Okay. So right there in Robbie's neck of the woods. Well, last night, Robbie and who went with you?
Me and
Robbie
Johnny.
And Johnny went out to that area to see what they could find. And I'm going to let Robbie tell us a little bit about that. But before we do, those of y'all who were with us last week, remember we played the audio, but it was just Robbie playing it from his phone. Well, with the help of my son, Nick, I was able to do a little bit better than that. And we're going to play the audio for you right now. So turn your speakers up a little bit, folks. If you got your headphones on, get ready for this. So, make sure you got your speakers turned up. I want to make sure you hear this, but this is going to be a much more clear copy of the audio. So here we go. What do y'all think of that?
Doc, you chime in since you wasn't here the other night.
I think that's what Doc refers to as a brown pants moment.
And as I say, that's a brown pants moment right there. Whatever that critter was, it was definitely big, and I don't think it was a quadruped.
Well, I can't say with any distinction what it is. I personally think it was probably a Dogman.
Man,
however, I can tell you for a fact what it ain't. That ain't a cougar. That ain't a bear. That ain't a wolf. That ain't a coyote. That is no animal you are normally going to hear out in the woods.
Yeah, that literally made the hair stand up on the back of my neck, man. For sure.
I'm with you, Gary Lee. It definitely gives me American Werewolf in London vibes.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah, and like Rodney said, that's not far because Rodney just lives just back up the road from where me and Johnny were at last night at my dad's house. It's pretty close in his backyard almost.
Yeah, and Robbie, tell everybody, remember those footprints. How far away was it from where you saw those big tracks?
Now, Rodney and I have kind of talked about it, and we don't know exactly who the house. Well, we've got an idea who we think it is, but we couldn't find anybody on Google Earth that matched that. But just spitballing there, we think it's probably within no more than 12 to 15 miles tops. Probably on the lower side, probably within, I'd say 10 to 7 miles from where that is.
Mm-hmm.
But even if it's even if it's 20 miles, that ain't nothing for something like that.
I'm gonna say that's still within a range.
Yeah,
Easy.
but I would say it's closer than that. And if anybody doesn't know, the track Doc's talking about behind my dad's shop, which is where Johnny and I were last night, I found a 5.5-inch canine track.
I've got that image.
You still got it? Good.
If I do. Maybe.
No, that's the one from Florida.
Florida.
I don't have it.
Yeah, that was a bear track. Let me see if I can find it and send it to you right quick, DA.
Okay.
But the big thing is last night was kind of we wanted to get out and do something and just get somewhere. So my dad's was kind of the logical starting point, because all I had to do is call him and say, "Hey, Dad, can we come out here and poke around for a little while?" Which he was fine with. So that was just kind of the start of the investigation. We still got a lot we got to figure, because we heard some things, but it was way off in the distance.
Kind of like that Night and Moon Valley.
We
were
exactly.
getting answers to the shofar, but it was miles away.
Yeah, that's exactly how I explained it to Johnny. I said, this is just like when we were at Moon Valley. It was just right on the cusp of where you could really, even with the parabolic mic, you could barely hear. You could still hear the dogs in the area pretty clear, but you could hear something just right past that, just right on the edge of that. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to come on outer fringes of what you could hear.
Yeah.
Not enough to tell what it was, but you could still hear something.
There was somebody in chat said they had heard something. There it is. I was in Waterloo, South Carolina when I heard that. I've not hunted there since. So
how's Waterloo from you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that the other night. I want to say that's in the PD, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's around the Camden area. It's probably 2.5-ish hours, thereabouts. That's in the middle part of the state.
Okay.
I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Man.
W. Leonard Office said, "What area of South Carolina is Robbie referring to?" It's near Pickens County, Arkansas. That's in the northwest corners of
Pickens County, South Carolina.
Pickens County, South Carolina, not Arkansas.
Yeah, where my dad's house is, you can be in Rosman, North Carolina, in about 15-20 minutes.
Rodney says it's 52 miles from you, Robbie.
Okay, thanks, Rodney.
Man.
I'm still looking. I know I got that picture here somewhere.
Okay. But hell, the one we found in Joe Bald was got to be every bit of 7 inches across.
Yeah, this one was smaller than the one we found in Joe Bald. But I mean, hang on, I just found it. I'm about to send it.
Okay, well, send it over by messenger, then I can just download it and bring it right up on the screen.
Yep, it's in the co-host chat now.
Okay.
But the thing is, like I said, that last night at Dad's was just kind of a starting point. Rodney's checking into some things. Johnny's checking some things. I'm checking some things. We got some other people that we've kind of talked to that are checking things. Hopefully, amongst all of us, we'll be able to run something down, some kind of lead down.
Okay, I'm bringing that up right now. It is not showing it well in that. Let me bring it up another way. I'll just share the screen.
Yeah, it was kind of cutting half of it off.
Give me just a second. All right, I've got it now. I just got to share the screen. For some reason, this just stretches out images sometimes. There we go.
Phew.
Well, that one we found down in Joe Bald was pretty much bigger than that.
Yeah,
Quite a bit bigger than that, actually.
but that's big for a wolf track.
Oh yeah, very much so.
But what we found at Joe Ball, that would fit inside what we found at Joe Ball. But most normal wolf tracks would fit inside that.
Dude, I wonder what would happen if we played that audio at Joe Bald.
I don't know.
Do it.
I think maybe I get you two boys down here. We're going to find out.
I know, man. I know.
I'll play it on my phone through the car speakers and turn it up.
Yeah.
Doc will be like, "Hey."
I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah. And somebody asked about Dogman in Colorado just a second ago. I mean, man, there's been Dogman sightings all over the place out here. Wolf Creek Pass, hell, right up here on Pikes Peak.
Meeker?
Yeah, the Meeker, the Creed, Colorado, the cattle stuff going on there with a big unidentified canine tracks that were 7 to 8 inches that somehow came over 8-foot fence.
And we've said this before. How in the world in today's day and time can there be anything classified as an unknown canine species?
Right.
We've got a good question here, fellas. Let me see if I can get this to come up. The Desolate one says, "Why is it Dogman is spoken of now? It wasn't 30 years ago.
Great question.
Why is that?" That is a great question. Well, until the late 90s, the phrase Dogman didn't even exist. However, you can look back through the records, and they're dating back centuries, or stories of wolfmen or bipedal werewolves. Yeah. And if you start digging that into the cynocephali, and it goes way back farther than that. I believe the origin of Dogman is as old as humanity, because the cynocephali were not only documented by the Greeks and the Romans, they talked of it, and the Chinese. I just read that recently, that they actually engaged and fought groups of these things. And there's places in the valleys and the mountains of northern India that they still tell people not to go because these dog-headed men control the valley. So the word Dogman is new. It's kind of like Bigfoot. Bigfoot was a term that wasn't coined until 1957. Prior to that, terms like Sasquatch, Buckwuss, Wild Man, Hairy Man,
Right.
Nantinaq. Those words go back centuries, but it's only in modern times when words like Bigfoot and Dogman have got applied to what is actually a much older phenomenon.
Yeah, because even the indigenous tribes here to the North American area had their own. Each tribe had their own name for that particular critter.
Exactly.
Yeah, every First Nation tribe has a legend about something like that.
I mean, it goes back to biblical times, even with Saint Christopher, the dog-headed saint.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, Saint Christopher's. If you can look up pictures of Saint Christopher in Catholic iconography, and it shows him with the head of a dog.
It literally does.
Yep.
I'm not just making that up.
Both Marco Polo and Christopher Columbus documented encountering cynocephali during their travel.
And what legion was it in the Roman army that supposedly was wiped out by a group of werewolves, cynocephali, whatever you want to call them? They found that because there was actually a movie made about it too, or several movies, but there was one one of them was made about just the legion that got lost, which was the mainstream movie. And then they actually made one telling the story of them fighting the cynocephali.
And Darcy's got a good point. Darcy's wiki. I feel like cynocephaly and Dogman are two separate entities. I feel like they're both just as old as one another, but different entities because one has a more human body while the other has more canine.
It's entirely possible, but I personally feel like they're connected. And again, I don't know. Again, like we said many times, there are no experts, so you could be absolutely 100% correct. But I feel with the documentation of these cynocephali creatures going back more than 2,000 years, I think, even if dogmen are only loosely connected, they're still part of that legacy dating back at least 2,000 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
look at the crocodilians. I mean, how many different types of crocodilians are there? Cayman, black cayman, gharial, false gharial, alligators, crocodiles, and then even saltwater crocodiles, Nile crocodiles, mugger crocodiles, and every one of them have, things that are a little bit different. They all are in that same range, but they all have differences. It's probably a lot of the same thing, just like we talked about with Sasquatch having different subspecies.
Exactly.
Well, if you look at black bears, there are 19 different subspecies of black bear.
I mean, look at
Roxanne,
rattlesnakes.
I understand that a lot of Catholics don't put a lot of stock in that, but whether or not they choose to believe it or not, it's in the history.
It is. I mean, looking at Orthodox Church, the Orthodox faith, because I converted to Orthodoxy 20 some odd years ago, and it's in the Orthodox iconography. Just and Orthodoxy even predates Catholicism.
Right.
So I mean, it goes way back, man, in the Wayback Machine.
That's one of the things that's difficult to account with modern religion, is because too many people have picked and chose what they were going to preach, picked and chose what they were going to present as actual part of the religion. Hell, the Council of Mycenae, the Catholic Church threw out like 30 books of the Bible that they thought were apocryphal. So the Bible we have today is not the Bible as it was originally written.
True.
Well, that's why you get so many different translations and versions and things like that. It just.
But that's running dangerously close to us running down the religious rabbit hole.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we're going to avoid that. But just because they don't teach it currently doesn't mean it's not part of the historical texts.
Yeah, and I think that's the general point that we're trying to make is, just because something was called something, here recently,
mm-hmm.
The term dogman is kind of a hot button topic, so to speak, and it wasn't years ago, doesn't really mean it wasn't. It was just talked about in a different terminology, or there was a different name for it. Still probably was around the same type of creature. A lot of the things are probably the same. And this is no different than if you look at the movies and you look at Lon Chaney Jr.'s Wolfman, and then you look at Hugh Jackman and Van Helsing and look at the type of werewolf he was. That's two totally. They are both called werewolves, but look how vastly different they are.
Right.
And then watch that movie Dog Soldiers.
Yeah, exactly.
Which that's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
Awesome movie. I started to do a good Spoonie impersonation, but I won't do it right now. We're still probably too young into the show.
The Desolate One says, another thing I find fascinating is how we have big cats, lions, and tigers, but there's no canine dog of equal size. And one of these creatures that answer. It's possible, but back in the megafauna days, there were canines that were big, specifically the dire wolf. But there are other, like what do they call it, the bear dog?
Yeah, bear dog.
Yeah.
Bear dog was more canine than modern bears, but it was more ursine than modern dogs, but it was massive.
Well,
and it was a canine species.
There are some, or I've heard that somewhere back down the line that ursine and canine were closely related. Doc, you may can speak on that if they're in the same branch of the tree or not.
Right.
That's more of a medical question, or a scientific question.
Yeah. I'm not that scientifically inclined, but yeah, I mean, they definitely. I mean, I guarantee you, if you did DNA samples on each one of these different types, that you would definitely see some commonality there.
Oh, I agree. Another thing we were talking about just before the show that I kind of want to bring to the point is much like in the case of LBL, where the family of 4 was allegedly killed.
Mm-hmm.
You can't find anything on it now. There's a few eyewitness testimony, like some of the officers that were on the scene that I find credible. And then you can also find local stories that have survived of it. But as for finding newspaper or death certificates, all of that's gone. And to me, that just gives more credence to the story, because recently in the news we know of a similar story, but it was with cattle in Meeker, Colorado, when a large unidentified canine mauled to death a bunch of cattle. And that's like Doc was saying, that has all been swept under the rug. You can't even hardly find information on it now.
Yeah.
Another great case of that is the the Amazon driver here in Missouri that was killed up near, was it Washington? No, not Washington, Missouri. It was killed up near Lexington, Missouri. The driver was killed. The deputies that showed up to investigate the scene had to force their way into the house, and they killed the dogs of the people that lived at that address. But no necropsy was ever released stating that the dogs were the responsible. Well, this person was found mauled to death. The local sheriff and the local coroner said they'd never seen a person mauled that badly, and it's still considered an open case. If the dogs did it, it would not be an open case.
Right.
It's an open case, so nobody can.
You can't Freedom of Information Act it. And two other incidents, that's very near the Missouri River. Two incidences, both on the Missouri River. Within a month of the incident there at Lexington, Missouri, there was a hunter who went missing at a game preserve. He was a deer hunter. They found his cold weather gear and his rifle, but they didn't find him for a couple of days. So you're good. And they said, well, he just wandered off looking. He was tracking a deer. I don't know if any of y'all have ever deer hunted, but you don't just lean your rifle against a tree and go look for the deer, because sometimes you find that deer, it's still alive. You might need a second shot. There is no hunter that puts his gear down and his rifle down and wanders off. Doesn't happen.
Oh.
And the other one was a case, and this is one that Steve Peden and I were talking about. There was a body found on a gravel bar in the Missouri River. He was badly mauled. And Missouri special case squad came in and said, this is our case. We're taking over the case. They kicked the county guys out of it, and they sent somebody to collect the body and never processed the scene. Didn't process the scene at all. They just recovered the body and shut the case down. And that's all within just a few miles on the Missouri River.
If you really look, you could go look in probably just about every state. There's going to be at least one or two agencies, probably more, but at least one or two agencies that have stuff that are shady. Oh, I don't want to use the word shady, but
questionable,
like that. But this is what made me think about this. I was looking at that map you sent in the co-host chat the other day of all the sightings, and how it goes. If you look at it, there's a little bit of sightings in the middle of the United States, but all the sightings kind of go around the edges, the biggest part of them rather. And I got to thinking, remember what we talked about the cave system going from Maine to New Mexico? Those sightings follow that pattern, that same pattern. There's something going on that people don't want the average everyday person to know about.
Yeah, me and my son were just talking about that tonight before the show, and before I got on with y'all. And I was like, yeah, I laid out. I had like several paper towels. I was like, hey, here's your cave system, here's your national park system, here's your disappearances, and they're all overlaid to the same. It's too coincidental, I don't believe in coincidence.
Same here. Steve Stepanek says, I've got a video of Congress voting on Dogman underground breeding facilities. Okay, if you could send me a copy of that video. Wow. My email is daroberts@daroberts.net. I would love to check that out.
Well, Doc, you found that article about about that time. Remember we did a show about it? That you found the article where they supposedly released the genetically altered Dogman into the in amongst the wild ones in was it Louisiana to breed to see how the genetically mutated ones affected breeding with the wild population. What was that, in the 60s or so when that article was written?
Yeah.
You still have that? Doc, do you still have that?
Which one?
That article that Robbie's talking about.
I can look and see.
If you can find it, shoot that to me.
Okay. Yeah. Let me look and see if I've got it in my files here. I thought, Robbie, I'm sorry. I spaced out. I thought you were talking to DA about that. So I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a Dogman show the three of us did. You found that article.
Yeah. I'll have to, let me see if I can find that.
And, a lot of people have believed that Dogman was a government creation, and I don't think that's the case at all. I think these things have been around for a very long time. Now, our government, even in World War II, they tried to train dolphins to plant mines. They've tried to weaponize bats. I mean, so our government's not above trying to weaponize an animal. So I don't think they created them, but they're certainly not above trying to make them into a weapon.
Well, yeah, I'm not surprised about that at all.
No.
At all. Well, because what was that? There was that truck driver down in, was it in Florida, that had the encounter one where he shot it in the face?
Oh, no, that was up in Michigan.
Michigan, yeah. And then like right up the road, he got met by some uniform but not uniform people.
Yeah. Said you just killed one of our assets.
Right.
Well, if it tried to get in my truck, I'd have shot it too.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Well, your asset was trying to chew my face off, so
yeah. You and your asset can kiss my ass.
Yeah.
You can kiss my ass, that.
Giggity. Giggity.
Don't everybody talk at once.
Northwest Native Tracker says Grapevine rumor says Dogman and Gugway have volunteered. Well, we've seen how the government has volunteered people in the past, so I don't know. When it comes to our government, there's very little trust there.
Michelle. Hey, thanks, Michelle. Appreciate it.
But we are seeing, to me, I believe an upsurge, especially since COVID, in sightings, because much like bear and mountain lions and deer have all come back into areas where they weren't in the past because we were always out there. After COVID, when so many people stayed home for so long, nature started taking those areas back. And now, since they're prey, like deer, much closer to civilization, these things are coming closer to civilization because that's what they hunt. So I think we're definitely seeing an uptick in sightings.
Well, like we said, we don't have the same kind of people that we had back in we were just talking about it before we came on the show with the movie, Doc, that you were talking about, the new Kevin Costner movie. We don't have that kind of people left. I mean, there are some, but as a whole, this society is not like it used to be. You ain't got people that can go out and do the things that needed to be done to clear stuff like that back out, push it back out like you used to have. And it's one of them things that we're just going to have to learn to deal with it now.
Right.
I'd forgotten about that one, Roxanne. There was a man from Sikeston who went missing in the Ozark National Riverways near Carter County back in 2022, and that's another one you can't find any information on. He went missing under some very bizarre circumstances, and you can't find anything on it. Well, much like when Steve and I first started researching Joe Bald, we found out it was 8 or 9 cases that were actually, you could find them on the net, of people who had gone missing in connection with that park, and was hinting that that's why they shut the park down. When I started writing Lakeview Man, I went back to collect all of those because I wanted to make printouts of them for my notes. They were gone.
Well, remember the two bikers that rode through the LBL that got killed?
Yeah.
You can't find anything on them
Bicyclists,
anymore.
not motorcycles.
Yeah, bicycles.
Wow.
The one that had one of his bicycles folded around a tree 12 foot off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's totally normal.
Yeah, it's a cougar.
Look what Wyatt said. Wyatt said, "I'm pretty sure I've had my I'm pretty sure may have had a Dogman encounter last week. Didn't get a great look at it, but lots of eye shine. That's what we had at Joe Ball's. We didn't actually get it to come out into them, but the eye shine was clear.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we're at the bottom of the hour. Doc, you want to tell us a little bit about Dark Angel since you're here?
Hi, Dark Angel Medical here. Sure. Hey, man, hadn't seen y'all in a while, but Dark Angel Medical is a little business I started 13 years ago. And we specialize in selling minor and major trauma kits and also providing people with the education on how to use that stuff in a bad situation. If you head over to darkangelmedical.com, you can check out all of the various products we have. You can sign up for training in the different areas of the United States that we go to, as well as check out, if you don't have time for an in-person class, you can always do an online training course as well. They have 30 days to complete that. We also have a YouTube channel where we have a free 30-minute online training video that will cover some of the ins and outs of basic trauma care. So our main goal is just making sure that people are prepared, and as I like to say this, so they can cheat the Reaper and give somebody else another birthday. And right now we're up to 197 confirmed saves. So pretty
freaking awesome.
Yeah, pretty freaking cool, man. And if you use the coupon code Cryptid20, that'll be 20% off your order. And all of our products are FSA and HSA eligible. And if you ever use one of our kits to save somebody's life, then we'll replace, just let us know and we'll replace what you used absolutely free of charge. It's called our Kit Life Guarantee. So we're pretty proud of what we do. We're pretty proud of what we have done, and we're hoping to do even more gooder in the future and keep more people alive and help people die slower. So that's kind of the goal there. So y'all go check it out. We're a service connected disabled veteran-owned small business, and we pride ourselves in putting good stuff in our kits because it may be one of us that you use it on. So head over to darkangelmedical.com and get a kit, get trained, and be the difference. That's what we always say.
And y'all don't forget to wish Doc a happy birthday. It was just a couple days ago.
I'm old.
I know the feeling.
Yep.
So old a fart dust. Just turned 53.
Well, I'm a year older than you then, so you're still a young leader.
Just turned 53.
Yeah, you got 3 years on me, Doc.
Doc, you had a question here.
Not talking Lounge and Rack. Our dogs had a powder to cauterize wounds. Yeah, that was the old zeolite based quick clot hemostatic agent. It was it's supposed to be used as a clotting agent, but yeah, it had a very very brisk exothermic reaction with anything that has water in it. So yeah, that stuff worked. It worked.
A little too well.
There were definitely some negative side effects as a result of that. But hey, you lived, so that's a big thing. And thank y'all for the birthday wishes. Yeah, they don't use that stuff anymore. That has not been used since 2009.
Kind of like that conversation we had one night when I called you out of the blue. I'm like, hey, tell me about artificial blood. And because of that, we created the Shock X that Wild Hunt uses.
Yeah, dude.
Based on real technology.
We Yeah, we talked on that for a while that night.
Yeah, we were talking like 4 hours that night.
Yeah, that was a long late night conversation. That was yeah, I remember that because we were writing down all kind of acronyms, and I was looking up different scientific studies on this stuff. So it was pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Had a question here, Robbie. I'll let you take this one.
All right, shoot. Are werewolves real? Or some of these creatures changing back to true human form again by first sunlight? Okay, we've kind of mulled this over a time or two.
There's a few schools of thought on it.
Yeah. I'm not one of those that's 100% sold on the fact that there are people out there who are shifting back and forth between, because we even did a whole show on how that if that could physically happen, you know, and DA and I playing the part of, okay, this is the legend, and Doc and Steve going through the
medical end
physically even happen in, you know, in medical terms. I mean, what would it, how would it affect the human body? I mean, is it even possible? So, and we know there's things out there that nobody understands. So this is not me saying that it's 100% impossible, because we don't know. I mean, there are powers and forces out there beyond all of us. So it's entirely possible that that could be real. Here's what I think our general consensus amongst most of us here on the channel is: anytime we've used this analogy, if you went back to the 1800s with this, and it would work for, you know, for starters, you'd probably get shot or hung as a witch, because this
witch.
Yeah, any technology that's sufficiently ahead of what you know is considered magic. So if you had things like this walking around 2 feet, and then you had people that had, what's a good term for this, Doc? They had things wrong with them that they may have acted this way, and people could connect this creature that they saw with this crazy person over here. I think people were looking for a reason to explain how people like Peter Stoop, how they did some of the things that they did. And that's where the true term werewolf came from. I don't believe werewolves are dogmen as far as that goes. I think dogmen are nothing more than just animals that may be a holdover from the dire wolf, like we've talked about before. Maybe something completely and totally different. Who knows? But I don't think there's people that are shifting back and forth between wolf and man. I think we kind of talked about that in length with that, and Doc and Steve both were like, you know, physiologically, or that would just be so taxing on somebody to go through that. I don't think they could survive it unless it was a supernatural thing, right, Doc? Is that pretty much what?
Yeah, I mean, because just from the cellular restructuring, the skeletal restructuring, and the amount of energy required for that is mind-boggling. You know what I mean? Because I mean, what our bodies are chemical factories. We're chemical factories. We're electrical factories. We're hazardous material, disposal factories. All the above, man. But I mean, just the sheer metabolic demand that would be exerted upon somebody's body. It's hard to believe it would even be survivable unless it's some sort of
supernatural
DNA type thing. That's part of their original makeup.
But that would appear supernatural to people like us.
100%.
Oh yeah.
As somebody who knows how the body works, Doc, if you saw somebody go through that transformation and they survived, your immediate reaction would be, "Oh, they got to be possessed. That's supernatural, something like that." Because it would be sufficient.
No medical explanation for it.
It would be sufficiently ahead of what you know.
Yeah,
as it would appear supernatural.
Yeah, because if that happened to a natural person, just somebody who's just a human, just Homo sapiens, no additional DNA. You got your human DNA. I mean, dude, we'd probably burst into freaking flames. You know what I mean? Just from the sheer amount of energy that was off put. So that's crazy stuff. Yeah, but I see where you're going with this. Yes.
Yeah. So, am I saying that it's 100% impossible? No, because none of us are experts. This is just my opinion. And my opinion is based on things like what Doc has said about just how would you even survive that as a normal human being? Short of being somebody like Superman who could survive a nuclear blast to the face, I don't know how you would survive something like that. So I believe these are just creatures, and I believe there are people who looked for, especially back then when you didn't have the medical knowledge and the knowledge of things that we have nowadays.
Right.
They look for answers. They've seen these creatures. Things usually, DA can tell you he worked night shift. I worked night shift the biggest part of my career. Rodney's in the chat. He can tell you he worked night shift. Most bad things happen during night shift. So when bad things happen in the night, and you see these things because they're primarily nocturnal, and you look for the commonalities. Oh, Peter must be a werewolf. And then they get him in and they torture him. And he's like, yes, I'm a werewolf. I made a deal with the devil. I did it. I'm a werewolf. And that's where you get stuff like that. There's still some element of truth because, they've seen these creatures, but there's other stuff built into it that just kind of fit the mold of what they needed it to fit. That's my opinion. Like I said, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's my opinion of where you get the commonalities and the link between the werewolves and dogmen or cynocephali or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, and
Roxanne Delgado had a good question. She says, "Has anyone ever said when they saw a dogman that when they stood up, they've heard the bones cracking in the joints?" Yeah, actually, I've talked to quite a few people who've had that happen, but it wasn't that the dogman was changing in from a person to a werewolf, and they approached and they thought it was just a big wolf until it stood up. Yeah, I think it's the changing of the structuring of the hands. I think that's what they're hearing. I think when dogmen move on all fours, they use their hands much more like paws. But when they stand up, and dogmen, even Kuhnbo was saying, dogman's hands have been described as spindly looking, like a
big raccoon paws,
like a big raccoon hand, which is not normal for a human hand to look like that. So I think it's an adaptation. I think the dogmen, one of the reasons why they're so seldom seen is because most of the time they're on all fours and people just think it's a big wolf.
Yeah. Maybe a wolf with a 5.5 inch track or bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, that very well could be the case.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, I mean, and if there is if we're talking about dogman versus wolfman, the wolfman it seems like there's more of a supernatural component there, and believe me, I've seen some supernatural stuff that literally defies scientific explanation. I've witnessed it.
Yeah,
and supernatural is what they call it. It's beyond nature. That's right. That's the whole meaning of it.
Yeah. Michelle Powell says, if there are werewolves and dogmen, why don't we ever hear about cat people, or whatever we call them? They refer to them as felinoids, and there are reports of them. They're just not as common.
And most of those are like in Peru and the South American areas. Mm-hmm. I've actually speculated that, and DA, I don't know I can't remember if you were there that night or not, Doc, but DA and I've talked about this. I said, what if we're looking, and I'm not saying there's not dogmen in LBL. Don't get me wrong. I believe there is, because I 100% believe that's what I saw that night. And yeah, but I think maybe some of these kills we're blaming on the wrong type of were creature, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of these kills that are up in what canine do you know that carries a kill up a tree?
Yeah, big cats do all the time.
And where are a lot of these kills found? up in a tree about 12 foot off the ground. They're aware jaguars, aware cougars. What if what's going around in the LBL, or there is something in the LBL that's that? I mean, that we've done looked at that. There's 3 ley lines that go through that place, which creates a vortex. So there's some spooky stuff going on in that place. So it's possible there could be some kind of were-feline in LBL.
I've never heard of a sighting of a were-feline, but I have heard multiple Dogman sightings.
But think about this, DA. Remember what me and Johnny found out all over the lake shore and right into the woods?
Fish.
All them fish skeletons. What cats like to eat.
Yeah, true, but dogs will eat fish.
True. But I'm just saying there's a lot of evidence that if you look at it that way, could say, or could not prove, but could go a long way to saying that it's a possibility that it could be something like that.
And this is not to be facetious or anything like that. I'm not trying to be flippant, but here's the deal. What if you threw some catnip out there?
You might not want to be around when you did, but that might be a good.
I know. I mean, what if you grew up? What if you went out there to LBL and accidentally dropped some seeds, and they germinated, and you could go check that area for tracks. I'm just saying.
And I'm just saying that
Blue Devil just gifted 20 memberships.
Dude,
thank you so
awesome,
much, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Those are going to be popping up for a while. Everybody, Blue Devil just gave away 20 memberships, so 20 people are about to get a gifted membership. You should see your name popping up in the chat.
And believe me, I'm not sitting there. I'm not trying to be a smart ass about it. I was being dead serious. I mean, because is it plausible? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Rivers. The answer is always no till you ask, right? So.
Yeah. And here's the thing: what made me start thinking about that was, nowhere else on any Dogman story have you ever that I can think of. You may have one, DA, but nowhere else have I heard a Dogman story where remains of the kill have been found up in a tree, other than the LBL.
Other than the LBL, that's the only one I've heard. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that it wasn't a Dogman that killed that family, and it wasn't a Dogman that killed those 2 bikers, but it could have been something more than just the Dogman in that area, because that's 2 right there off the top of our head that we know of that the remains.
Certainly food for thought.
I mean, we're playing a huge amount of bringing the what if fairy out.
Right. But I mean, I think that's what we do is because you have to look at other options. You have to do that outside the box thinking.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. General Dalton Docker, you walk around shaking a bag saying, hey, kitty, kitty. No, there would be no here, kitty, kitty on that one. Yeah.
Philip Croyle said, have heard a Dogman encounter where a person called out the name of Jesus for help, and the Dogman spoke to them in their mind, paraphrasing, "Oh, you're one of those," and left. I've heard a few stories like that. Not many. It's never been in my experience. I'm not saying it didn't happen. But it's one of those things where you just kind of have to take it on faith, I guess. Maybe I don't know if these creatures are affected by invoking the name of God. I don't know at all.
Well,
I couldn't say.
And I think we've kind of hit on that before too. We all believe that there are just creatures out there, but there are things out there that are not just a flesh and blood creature.
Right.
We've
right
100% established that. So, and here again, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying this is Doc or DA's opinion. It's just my opinion. If a demon is going to appear to you and it's going to try to scare you and it's going to try to get the things out of you that it needs to get out of you, it's going to appear to you as something that it knows is going to scare the ever-loving what out of you. So if a werewolf is something that scares the crap out of you, then that might be what you're going to see.
Brian Barber says Manistee National Forest still has areas closed down that used to be public and closed due to aggressive wildlife.
Hey guys, I'm going to go off camera for a second. I just heard something upstairs, and I'm the only one here right now. I'm by myself, so I'll be back.
All right.
Stand by.
Here's a good question. Can Dogman speak, vocalizing a human voice? I've never heard one speak. And I've heard lots of people talk about Mindspeak with Bigfoot and Dogman, but that's never been the case. When we had encountered what I believe were Dogman and Joe Bald that night, I didn't hear a voice in my head. I didn't hear anything like that. I knew something was there, and I felt like we were being hunted.
Yeah, only voice I heard that night was Noah saying, "Get back over here."
Same with that night in Combs Ferry. When we were walking through that area, through that old campground, I definitely know we got something's attention. We got rocks thrown at us. We even heard a couple of very quiet vocalizations. But as far as I know, nobody in the group experienced anything where something either spoke to them or mind spoke with them. So I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just never happened on any of our excursions. So all I can say is maybe. I don't know if they can speak or not, or if they have vocal cords, but it's been outside my experience.
Yeah, and there again, like we always say, what we say on here and what we share as our opinions are just that, our opinions.
Right, exactly.
We're not saying that a Dogman can't vocalize and human speak. We're not saying Bigfoot don't have mind speak. All we're saying is, and DA and I have been out several times together and had several encounters, and all that we have ever seen is just something that acts like a flesh and blood animal.
Right.
Now,
Antonio Vasquez says, you guys heard about the guy Blue in Florida? He was live on Facebook. He opened the door to look outside and sees a Dogman. No, I hadn't heard about that. If you've got a link to that, either post it in the chat or send it to me in my email. I would love to check that out. Desolate One says, I had a theory that Dogman was created by ET to protect them from humans. If in a wooded area they know our fears, so best security system. It's possible. I don't know the origins of these creatures, but I know that the sightings go back a long, long time. So just take that as you will. Again, like we're saying, we're not experts. We don't claim to be experts. Form your own theories, do your own research, and let what you know lead you to your theories. It's not something that we've encountered, but it's not something we rule out either.
Yeah, and we talk constantly. It's not when we get together and start talking about stuff on camera. That's not the first time we've generally talked about these things and things like that. DA, Doc, and I, and Steve, and we have conversations all the time. Oh, hey, did you see this, or did you hear this, or what do you think about this? We're all constantly bouncing ideas off of each other all the time. I mean, in the past 2 years, I can't remember, maybe once or twice we've had a day go by that we hadn't had some kind of conversation,
right,
between the three of us in a day. Maybe
Doc, what was it?
Amazon guy threw a box on my front porch, but me and Colonel Colt went and checked it out, and everything's fine.
All right.
But yeah, so we've all constantly talked about our opinion, and there's been things that I've had an opinion on that Doc and DA have had a different opinion on. We've talked about it, and I may have changed my mind based on some of the stuff that they brought to light, and vice versa between any one of us. But
right.
That's the whole point of shows like ours, is not for us to put our viewpoints down your throat.
Right.
It's for us to say, hey, this is what we believe, and you don't have to follow our belief system. You don't have to believe the same, just no more than we have to follow anything that we don't want to believe. But
Right.
that's how we learn, is we sit here and talk about it and have these discussions. And the three of us just usually happen to have the same opinion most of the time anyway.
Yeah. We're all cut from the same cloth, that's for sure.
Brian Barber says, have you guys heard of reports seeing Bigfoot and Dogman wearing ankle bracelets, maybe tracking devices? If the government's using these things as any kind of part of a weapon system, you can bet your ass they're tracking them. So it wouldn't surprise me to see one wearing a tracking collar or an ankle.
And even if they don't have a tracking collar or an ankle, monitor thing like they do with other wildlife, guarantee you there's RFID tracking chips that are implanted, just like when we chip our animals.
Remember Wednesday night, DA? We talked about that a lot. And think about this, Doc. Sometimes you hear people are missing and they search for weeks and weeks and weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes they'll search for a couple of days and they're like, they're gone. And they just stop.
Right.
Why is that?
Yeah.
I had another question from Kelly Marie. She said, good evening, crew. Question: the movie Late Phases, I think I saw a while ago, is a movie based on real life town areas on
Werewolf, Dogman.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a werewolf movie.
I haven't seen that one. That's one of the ones I haven't seen yet. So
that's the one about the Vietnam vet who's blind. And his son moves him into that
Jesus, Robbie. You've watched more movies than I have, dude. Holy crap.
Ethan Embry's in it. He's the son. It's a good movie. Tom Noonan's in it.
Check it out. There's a good comment. Janice Blake says, it seems that everyone judges the entire subject by their most often one encounter. If there's Mindspeak, they feel every cryptid should Mindspeak. It appears based on one encounter. I agree. But again, without there being any expert source we could go to, there's no, it's not proven to exist. So you've got to base your beliefs on something. And most often people will base that on a personal encounter. I've had some personal encounters, but I have yet to encounter anything that I would consider Mindspeak or anything like that. It hasn't happened to me. I'm not saying it can't. It's just never happened to me.
Nah.
Well, and we've talked about that before, DA, and I know you feel the same way, Doc, that especially in law enforcement, there's been times where you've heard a voice inside your head. And it's just that self-preservation thing kicking in, saying, "Dumbass, don't go in there."
I had that happen to me on patrol one night. And it wasn't Dogman or Bigfoot related at all.
That's
good old ass saving fear.
Yeah, my personal opinion, and this is, and I know that infrasound's a real thing. Don't get me wrong, but I believe that a lot of the infrasound things that people talk about, if you, Doc, and you back me up on this, if you listen to how a lot of people describe their the way they felt when they've been hit with infrasound, does it not resemble and have a lot of the same characteristics and symptoms of a PNS backlash from an adrenaline dump?
Yep.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If you're in a situation,
I definitely agree. The national parks do know about these.
If you're in a situation and you're not somebody who goes out looking for this, like us three idiots do, and are not looking for something like that, and one of these things steps out behind a tree, you're going to go into fight or flight.
Oh, absolutely.
And your body is going to dump adrenaline into your system. So when it starts dissipating, you're going to go through that PNS backlash.
Yeah.
Parasympathetic nervous response. I learned this as a defensive tactics instructor. Dizziness, nausea, that tunnel vision, all that stuff that that I've heard multiple people say that they felt when they got hit with infrasound is exactly the same symptoms you get when you hit that.
Robbie, we lost your audio.
Freaking satellite. Well,
Robbie got satellited.
Just like that, what the Desolate one said about the National Park Services, DNA and Robbie and I have talked about this on several shows, because in some national parks, there's a lot of national parks obviously in the United States, but in some of those areas, they actually have designated do not fly zones, not only for private aircraft, but also for drones.
Right. There are large areas of national parks
They-
you can't fly a drone over.
They will come out there. I mean, you can't tell me they don't have radar out there, because you put a drone up, they will come out there, they will find you and confiscate your crap, because they don't want that. They don't want drones or anything flying around, because I mean, that's an easy way for recon, you know. And now these drones have these big freaking, you know, commercial surveying drones they have FLIR, they have night vision, you know, everything. So they got thermal, night vision, everything capability on them. But yeah, the National Park Service is like, absolutely no drone flights in this area. So why is that? It's just woods, right?
Right.
Supposed to be.
It's just woods.
It's supposed to be.
Well, and that's we. Remember Marty was talking to us about that before, when we were all supposed to go to the LBL. You know, she gave me that site that said something before you fly, and it's one that tells you where the geofences are and whatever area you're at.
Yep,
so
I remember that.
Not to go into and I can't remember who I was talking to, but somebody was telling me about that you can get permission to fly in places like the LBL, but you pretty much have to log your flight. And if you go off your flight course, number one, they have to approve it. But number two, if you go off of your flight pattern, if you deviate at all, it might get down or.
So you basically, as that's an FAA thing. So you got to file a flight plan, just like if you're flying a private aircraft.
Yep.
Pretty much, yeah.
Dang.
You can't deviate off. They have to approve. You know, like say we were in the Mumbers Bay or whatever, and we wanted to fly, you know, that area right there, and they said, nope, can't fly there. But you can go fly over here. So, say we were 300 yards from the Mumbers Bay, and we're like, no, we're just going to sneak on over just a little bit over that way.
That is muy interesante.
Yep.
Ain't it though?
Huh. Very interesting. I'll be doggone.
Rick House said I had a massive adrenaline dump that made me puke after a motorcycle encounter.
Yeah.
Boys, we're at the top of the hour.
Yay.
Robbie, you want to tell us a little bit about Scallywag Tactical real quick?
Why, certainly. Scallywag Tactical is another one of our veteran-owned affiliate companies. They make some of the best blades, and I really like that. What is that one called, DA?
I can't remember what this one's called.
It's called the Big Pig Sticker, I guess. That's
Let
what
me
it
go
looks
look.
like.
I will go look.
Yes, Doc's bringing up the board and axe. That's pretty. See if I can get to it. Nope, can't get to it. Anyway, they're another, like I said, they're a veteran-owned company. Craig and his guys are amazing. They make awesome blades. We have, all of us have got all kinds of toys.
This is my pocket knife.
That's your Claymore. Doc's got the big S word there, the bounty. This is the Dugan. This is the Dewclaw. They all got cool names too. Which
This one's called the Double Trouble.
Double Trouble. They've got another one that I've seen that is going to be my next one. Hopefully, it's called the Crow's Nest. Have you seen that one?
Oh, I like that one.
That one is
a nice looking knife.
Yes.
I want one of those pretty bad.
Yep. So
I've not seen it.
go look at it, Doc. It's pretty cool. The Mini Jack.
Dude, I love this little knife. The Mini Jack is a great knife. I will say this though: do your PMCS, do your preventive and maintenance checks and services on these knives with any kind of Torx bits or Torx screws or anything like that, and get you a little Torx bit set, and make sure you put a little blue Loctite on there, a little 242.
And another good thing, I don't know how many people have got knives with these Kydex sheaths, but a lot of times they're real. You put the knife in it and they rattle and they don't stay in there. Those things
are solid.
The tolerances on these, I mean, it It is not going anywhere. And I'm talking like put it on your belt, run around in the woods, and it's still where you need it to be.
It stays where it needs to be.
And
yeah, Joe Parker knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, make sure you keep those Loctite. If you got torque screws, and even Craig even said this because I called Craig and talked to him about it. Use that stuff. Use that. He said, get you some little torque bits and some blue Loctite, and you'll be solid.
Yep. But I mean that's no different than.
How many knives do y'all own?
Never enough.
Missy, all of them.
And if you go to Scalawag, make sure you use discount code DA Roberts 10 for 10% off your entire order.
Great blades. They make
that even applies to the scratch and dent sale over at the what is it called?
Blemish blades.
Blemish blades
dude,
section.
Have y'all seen the new Grandpa knife?
Oh,
yes.
I like that.
Yes, it looks like an old timer.
Dude, $25. $25.
Looks just like the knife that my grandpa used to
use.
It looks just like an old timer.
Yeah, remind me a lot of that old case I got.
Yep. Case double X.
Yeah.
Yeah, I carried a knife just like it all through high school.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll go a little further on Doc's answer to that question, Missy. He said all of them. I'll say not enough.
Amen.
Yeah, never enough.
Amen. I like all things sharp and steady.
Because a knife don't cut you three ways.
Long, continuous.
If a knife don't make you need a Dark Angel medical kit, then it's not really a knife.
That's right.
Desolate One says, can you hunt a Dogman? Can they be taken down? Well, we've heard stories of them definitely being taken down. As for the legality of it, I don't know. If it turns out that it's a government asset, we might be in for a world of hurt. If it turns out that the thing is a federally protected species, because they attempted in 2019 to amend the national hunting laws to include protecting certain near-human chimeras. That was actually introduced on the floor of Congress. What were they hinting that was supposed to be that they were trying to protect on hunting laws?
Why would they be doing that if they're admitting it without admitting it? You know what I mean?
Doc, that's the same thing as Bigfoot being in the Army Field Manual.
Or in Ohio DNR, Bigfoot posting signs.
Yeah, Joe Barger was the one that shot one in Manistee. We had Joe on the show. Nice guy.
So,
and one thing I will say is, and Robbie and Doc will back me up on this, we have zero intention of being the one to bring one of these down and bring it in for science. I don't want to do it. I think, especially until the government admits they even exist formally, because you would be in for one, a legal shitstorm. Two, you might just get unalived by our own government when they try to shut that thing up. On the other end of the spectrum, if you shoot one, I would say odds are very good that it ain't alone. So if you engage one, you may not even make it out of the woods. So if on the expeditions we go, we're looking to collect evidence, collect video, recordings and things like that. We are not intending to bring one down. And the only way I will fire on one is in self-defense.
Absolutely. 100%. I feel, and DA and Robbie and I have all talked about this at length offline. That is the literal only way that we would ever shoot any of these cryptids, to be quite honest with you, is in a case of clear cut, hey, I'm about to die, a self-defense type situation.
And there are a lot of states that have made it illegal to even bother one. The Florida's got the skunk ape protected. Washington State has made it illegal to hunt Bigfoot. There's several states that have laws on the books protecting Bigfoot. But however, Oklahoma went the other direction. Oklahoma has a $3 million bounty on one brought in alive.
Seriously?
Yeah, they do.
alive.
Got
Now,
to be brought in alive.
and that's the thing about it, man. With these cryptids and everything, I'm just I'm to the point where live and let live, man. Because I'm honestly, anytime I go out in the wilderness, I'm armed.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I'm more worried about two-legged varmints of the
greater
of
North
the
American meth heads always foremost on my mind.
Absolutely. I'm more worried about a Homo sapiens than anything else, for sure.
Man is generally the most dangerous animal in the environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
What Tommy Lee Jones say about him in Men in Black?
No idea.
People are stupid. What's the whole? You can really stop
along the lines of individually people are smart, but if people in a group are panicky like cattle.
Yeah, then it gets really hairy. Pardon the pun.
Chris Burkhardt says it's research, not a hunting trip. Exactly. Even though we do go armed, it is not our intention to hunt one. We are looking to collect evidence, video, audio, foot castings. That's our goal. Our goal is to add to our knowledge of it and share it with you all. We're not trying to prove it to the world. We're not trying to get rich and famous off of this. It's just something we enjoy doing.
Yep.
So
I had somebody that said, "Well, if you're not trying to hunt it, why you carry all these guns and stuff in the woods and all that stuff?" Well, I've been a cop for 29 years. I've carried a gun every day of my 29-year career. I ain't never had to use it yet. By God, I got it if I need to use it. If I need to use it, I'm going to use it. So,
like one of Doc's kits, it's better to need it and not have. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yeah,
if you ever do find yourself needing it and not having it, you're probably never going to need one again.
Yep.
And I mean, honestly, we're more liable. We're the places that we go and look for things. We're more liable to run into a copperhead or a water moccasin or a rattlesnake. You know what I mean? That would need dispatching. So. Right. Yeah, I have no.
There are animals out there that can and will eat you or kill you. So we carry for protection and not because we want to bring one in.
No, I have no desire to do that. To be quite honest with you, at all.
Dino Bravo fan says, "Did Todd Standing get the law passed in Canada to make it illegal to kill Bigfoot?" I don't know. I know he was trying. I don't know if he actually succeeded. Joe Parker says, bringing one Bigfoot in alive, you'll have them trying to cover up a bunch of dead folks. Very well could. Like I said, if you hurt one in the wild, I don't think the rest of its friends and family are going to be happy about it.
Yeah.
No, because it's not the one. And just ask Greg about it. Greg's probably been in that situation more than any of the rest of us will ever be. And he how many times, Greg, if you're still in the chat, did you say you thought you was going to have to be that guy? So, but that's the chance you take when you go out and do these investigations, do these things like that. I mean, it's
100%.
But we talk about the grizzly man all the time. I mean, he knew what he was putting himself into.
Yeah.
We know what we're putting ourselves into, and we know there's a chance that something may happen one of these days.
And we have been in some pretty hairy situations.
Yeah.
We could end up being poop. You never can tell.
That's me and Johnny was talking about that last night. He said, "So we got enough people know who we are to come check us if we become wolf turds."
Absolutely, man.
And that's something we've talked about doing a show on, but it's something I'd kind of like to reiterate for a second. We don't just go out willy-nilly. We have a plan. We make sure somebody knows where we're going and when we're supposed to be back. Somebody that's not with us. That way, somebody knows where to start looking should we not come back. But you've got to have a plan in place. You've got to have a structure of what you're doing. I mean, take a med kit because for God's sake, take a med kit because you never know when a minor injury might turn critical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Take 2 med kits.
We
One for each of you.
took what? 5?
We distributed multiple Dark Angel kits across 7 people. Greg House says, Robbie, at least 6 to 7 times I've had the safety off. I always carried a Glock, so the safety came off when I touched the trigger.
Yeah, but House out there hunting with that big old 30-06 though. So
That's true.
Ow, damn it.
yeah, Doc.
Yeah, it was my toe. I just kicked the crossbar on my workbench.
Ouch.
It's aggravating.
Yeah, right. I'm good.
Brent says he's gonna check your kits out, Doc.
Oh, they're the best.
Good. You need to. Best kits in the business.
Damn right.
Yep.
I carried one on duty for over 10 years.
That's right. They ain't cheap, but they're less expensive than a funeral.
And
That's a very good
I would
point.
much prefer to have a high quality kit than a $20 Amazon kit that doesn't have the stuff in it you need.
And guys, here's the thing. Somebody was talking to me the other day about, man, I need to look into getting one of Doc's kits. So I just think he's got Sizzle. You can get the kit and you can pay on it every 2 weeks. That's what I did to get my dark kit.
Yep.
Brian Barber says, I would think the hardest decision to pull the trigger is if the cryptid is acting out of self-defense because we came in his house.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's part of our decision-making process. If we clear leather, the point is to use that as a barrier to back away from the situation. If it pursues, it's a different animal. If it puts up a display wanting us to leave and we start leaving, if it continues to press it, then it might become a problem. But if it understands we're leaving and it lets us, we're not going to engage.
And because that's just it. It may be saying, hey, y'all get out of our territory. And they may be, they could be like, hey, you're in our space. Get out of our space. We don't want you here. You know what I mean?
Out of my living room.
Yeah, exactly, man. And because we're encroaching on their territory. That'd be like somebody coming in our house. And so I don't ever want to be in that situation because I would feel pretty bad, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I'd be thankful to be alive, but and honestly, the potential shit show aftermath you'd have to deal with federal agencies and everything like that. Good Lord, I don't even want to get into that.
Yeah. But that's you look at it from that standpoint of if they
Doc, there was a question for you.
If they started coming at you for that, well, you were the one who told us these things didn't exist.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I just sent him a reply in chat. Thank you, brother. Yeah, no, I mean that's
then
just
you would have to worry about the rest of the clan.
Yeah, but also, Robbie, I'm tinfoil hat here, but do you honestly think they're gonna?
Oh no, I'm just saying
we never said that.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Oh no, we never said that.
Exactly. I don't want to ever. And for us or anyone else who goes out there, like DA said, have a plan because hope is an absolute crap strategy. And let's just be proactive. If things are starting to get hairy, then don't discretion is the better part of valor. One of my good buddies is a retired chief from frickin' SEAL Team 7. That dude's been putting foot to butt for a lot of years, and he said, "Dude, do you know how many gunfights we ran away from?" Simply because the odds are not in your favor. It ain't like the movies, y'all. So get the hell out of Dodge. Seriously. That's a big thing. Get the heck, if things are getting scary, get out.
Right. That is
Seriously.
absolutely the truth.
Yeah. Get out. Don't try to be brave because it ain't gonna end like the movies. And yeah, Mrs. Moon, never go alone in the woods. A freaking man.
That's a great way to become one of the missing 411.
Okay. How many?
Now, I
of the
have done it, and I've regretted it.
bro. I mean, I've been paced in the woods by myself before. I mean, and how many of the missing 411s were people going out there by themselves?
True. Very true.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you do it, and you're like, because I've done it too, but you're like, well, if I want to go, there's nobody wants to go with me. It's either I go by myself or I don't go. So,
Pyromedic has a great point. He said, if you're being paced or messed with in the woods, keep moving. Most things tend to stay out of the way when you're moving.
Yeah.
And move towards your vehicle. Also have, if you're going out in the woods, I can't emphasize this enough, have map your route out. Know where you're going. Have a route and have primary, secondary, and tertiary at least egress routes to get back to your point of origin.
And take a map and a compass, because cell phones will fail you.
GPS will fail you. Learn, if you don't know how to do orienteering, learn how to do orienteering and get a good map and a good compass.
Yeah, I always carry a Lensatic compass and a map
Yes,
of the area.
100%. And Sunto are the military ones, but the military ones are what I learned with, obviously. But the Sunto Lensatic compasses are awesome compasses.
learn how to read a topo map.
Yep, topo maps are fantastic. Yep, and the area you're going in, get a topo map and make sure that the grid reference system is not a military grid reference system. Make sure it's UTM or MGRS. You know the differences, because different compasses are calibrated to UTM or the MGRS, military grid reference system. So know which one translates to which, and make sure your map matches your compass.
Because that will make a big difference.
Oh, dude, yeah, you'll be way off.
And establish landmarks quickly.
Yeah,
triangulate your position. As soon as you get to a good open spot, take a reading and look at your map, look at your compass, take a reading with your compass and get some triangulation so you can orient yourself to where you are. Like X marks a spot. You are here.
And, a big situational awareness is, and y'all heard me preach that. That's not only when you're in the woods looking, make sure that there's nothing around that's going to hurt you. Situational awareness can also be, okay, I'm here. I hear water running this way. I know water is eventually going to run me somewhere where I need to be.
Correct.
I'm going to water and I'm going to follow water. That's situational awareness. That's knowing stuff, knowing that a saddle and a ridge, knowing the difference between a saddle and a ridge, and that you can follow, a saddle down through water 9 times out of 10. But if you're on a ridge, you have to get to the saddle to get down to,
And Steve Stepanek, I'm sorry if I slaughtered your name, Stepanek, have a locator beacon. That's good, but only if you're not in a heavily wooded area, because that stuff is typically line of sight. And if you're in a heavily wooded area, satellite phones, any of that stuff, radios, that's going to be a line of sight. So if you're in a heavily forested area, you're going to have to get to an area that's above that crap to even get a
signal whistle or flare guns are great to have. And the one great thing you guys should always remember is, if you're armed and you're in distress, the universal universal call for hunter in distress is 3 shots.
3 shots, baby. Yeah.
And that will hopefully bring somebody in the area looking for you.
Y'all check this one out from Henry. I hunt a spot that made my compass spin. I walked out into town, then walked back up to the truck. That's kind of scary.
Hey, that happens.
Yeah. And Chris Burkhardt, what we just said, back azimuth is huge. So shoot an azimuth, look at your back trail, know what your back trail looks like, and shoot an azimuth. That's just a point from where you are. And even Philip Kroll says that a pocket mirror can save your life. Signal mirrors, I mean, these are basic wood skills. And I will say this, y'all, if y'all want to take our course at Dark Angel Medical, that's awesome. But if you're out in the woods a lot, I would definitely look at going through the American Outdoor Leadership Schools. It's called the Wilderness Medicine Institute. They teach a wilderness emergency first responder or emergency medical responder class. And it is a fantastic austere medicine class for those of you who go out and about in the woods.
If you're building a kit to take with you, get a life straw and get a couple of space blankets. They take up next to no room in your pack, and you can drink straight out of a mud puddle with a life straw, and a single space blanket can mean all the difference between you freezing to death and not.
Yep. Fire, water, food, shelter. That's your cornerstones right there. Fire, water, food, and shelter.
Yep.
Stepanik says, what about a flare gun, or would that be dangerous? I would, for an emergency situation, yeah, I'd say you could probably use a flare gun. But I wouldn't use it unless you knew that somebody was looking.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't just launch one just to see what happens. If you've got a helicopter in the area, if you've put out a distress call and they're looking for you, and you can hear a helicopter, pop one off.
Yep.
Something else, a VIS 17 panel, VS17. Look it up, VS17, VIS 17 panels. They have typically like a blaze orange color on one side and a like a magenta, hot pink, whatever color on the other side. Very unnatural colors, easy for helicopters, aircraft to see overhead, even through canopy. So that's definitely something to think about. Question for Doc: could you please type out that last course recommendation? Yeah, absolutely. Stand by. It's WI.
Here's one thing that I think is not said enough is if you are out and you do get lost, you get disoriented, whatever it is that happens, don't just sit down and say, that's it, I'm done. Or don't just sit down and say, well, I'm just going to sit here and hope somebody finds me. Do something. Like Doc said, work on your food, work on your shelter, work on your fire. Keep moving. Keep doing something, because that's what kills probably 90% of people out there is they get there and a lot of times they get embarrassed about what's happened to them. They sit down and they lose that will to keep going, and they just sit there and die.
Yeah, don't give up.
Don't give up. Keep moving. Keep doing something. Keep pushing.
And if you don't think you can start a fire from scratch, there are lots of things you could throw in your pack that are great emergency fire starters. Hell, a Dorito will burn for a good long time. A crayon will burn. You can take cotton balls and Vaseline and squish that Vaseline into those cotton balls and light one, and it'll burn for 5 minutes.
Hey, y'all, collect your dryer lint. Collect your dryer lint from your washers and from your dryers, your clothes dryers. Keep that dryer lint in something, and DA said, just smear it with Vaseline, put that in a pill bottle or something waterproof, and you hit that with a spark, like a ferro rod or something like that. It's going to spark right up, man.
Ferro rod, you can buy ferro rods that wear like a necklace around your neck.
Hell yeah.
That's a great little item to have. Or if you don't want to carry something like that, just put a lighter in your pack, but put it inside a Ziploc bag so it doesn't get wet.
Something to think about a lighter. Altitude. I live out here at 7,000 feet altitude. You get up to about 8,500 feet out here in the mountains in Colorado, and these butane torches that are pressurized don't work worth a piss because of physics. So think about
that's why you can't boil water.
Think about it, man. And so make sure if you're at a higher altitude area, make sure your ability to make fire is not hampered by science. So yeah, something to think about.
Yep.
That's why I would recommend the life straw, because at some altitudes you cannot boil water.
No. And I mean, and honestly, and people are like, oh, these mountain streams are nice and clear. Yeah, they're nice and clear because of the snow melt and everything, but go about 200 yards up and you're going to find a carcass or something, or a bear's taking a poop in the water. and you're going to get a nice big old load of crypto or giardia, and then
Or
you're
it's
gonna,
run off from a mine.
yeah, then you're gonna freaking die from dehydration because you're pooping every 2 minutes. So yeah,
And life straws take up next to no room. I mean,
No,
that's like 6 or 7 inches long. You could put one in straight into the water and drink straight out of it. It even filters out some nuclear particulates. And they make them that fit inside the line on your Camelback.
I've got the inline for my Camelback, and I've also got standalone filters, the life straws, but rubber band and a coffee filter, like from your coffee pots, your Mr. Coffee or whatever. Rubber band that over the end of it before you drink, and that'll kind of give you a pre-filter, and it'll filter some of the sediment. If you're in heavily sedimentary water, that's what I did on my water purification system for backpacking, because I don't have to pack in a bunch of water. But I know there's water sources, but I throw a coffee filter, rubber band it over my pre-filter so that it filters some of that sediment out and doesn't plug my filter up. Just something to think about.
And even if you don't have any of that stuff, you can take moss and sand, and that's going to get a good bit. Let it filter through that. That's going to get a good bit of all that stuff. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be better than nothing.
If you've got an old coffee can, even the plastic ones, but the metal ones work better. You put a layer of charcoal from your fire, a layer of sand, a layer of moss, and you'll get 80% of what's in that water out.
That's right. And if you got some fire, if you built a fire, crush up that charcoal in there too. As a pure
Joe Parker, the life straw is good for about 10,000 gallons.
Yeah. Okay, so T. Davis headed to Salida, Colorado in 2 weeks. That's right down the road from me. Anything reported there? Yeah, there have been Dogman and Bigfoot sightings out there, but not in town proper. But out in the mountains around there, yes, there have. Vicki Dennison, any Dogman or Bigfoot sightings in Jackson, Mississippi? Now I was born in Natchez and grew up around Hattiesburg, but no, there's nothing in that area. However, if you head either east going towards Meridian or west going towards Vicksburg, you will see some stuff out there, or there have been sightings down there. Also, primarily on the Gulf Coast, we have a lot of skunk ape sightings. My middle brother actually had a skunk ape sighting down there about 10 years ago on his property. Close, it's in Stone County. So nothing up in the Brandon, Flowood, Jackson area. Anything up that area.
Desolate One says, how many miles in do folk in America, in the U.S. go? We'll think it only a few miles. Most people don't ever get far off trails, but I know people that will go days off of trail, way deep into the backcountry. And I've done it, but it's been a hot minute. I mean, I was a much younger man the last time I did it, but that's to me, that's still camping. I don't want to go camp where everybody else is at in the campground. I want to camp where hadn't been maybe 5 people in the universe has camped in this spot.
Right. Yeah, we did a backpacking trip up in the Wind River Range in Wyoming several years ago. It was a 24-mile loop, and we were gone for 7 days, and we didn't see a single human being for 5 days. And our base camp was at 9,200 feet. We were out in the woods, so that's where we heard that big old wolf, DA. So, yeah.
Brian Barber says, do you guys download your IWN recorders? And what software do you use? I have 3 good stuff, no idea how to transfer. I don't have any of those recorders. I'm still building my research kit, building it on a budget because it's all self-funded. So basically what I've got is a parabolic mic. I've got a couple of digital recorders. I've got apps on my phone. I've got a ton of flashlights, but most of my gear is built. The stuff I've collected first, I felt was far more important. Then that's the stuff that has to do with me surviving the experience. I would much rather come out and say, hey, this is what I saw, this is what I experienced, than not come back out of the woods. So we're still working on building all of the digital recorder equipment, and Robbie's got some, I've got some, and Doc's got some. So we all kind of overlay our gear when we get out and go together. But the real trick is making sure we come out alive to tell the story.
Amen.
And here's the here's the dirty, low down, honest truth about all the nice gear and all that. You know, it's a pain in the butt to carry that stuff in.
It ain't light.
Yes, it
It's
is.
It's a pain in the butt when you get in there to remember to get the stuff out and turn it on and start looking. Because when you get in there and you're in there, if you're looking through a viewfinder, you don't feel like you're there. If you're, you know, and this is me. I'm not speaking for Doc or DA, but I'm sure they probably feel the same way. When I'm there, y'all know me, I'm the tracker. I want to be looking at the ground. I want to be seeing. That's, you know, people say, well, did you do this? Would you take pictures of this, or did you grab that deer? No, what I was concerned with when we found that deer hide, I was looking at the ground. That's Doc said, I bet she's looking at the ground. What, you looking for scratch? I said, yep, because Doc knows that's me. That's what I want. I saw that. I'm like, ooh.
And that's one thing is every time we go out, we learn something.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily even cryptid related. Like for this last expedition we went out, I learned that from now on, we will designate one person to video and we'll designate one person to take pictures. And because I was not concentrating on taking pictures or shooting video, I was watching our surroundings and picking the trail. Robbie was looking for tracks. Noah was on the parabolic mic. Wyatt was was at the back of the group. He was watching the back of the group. Estrella was helping pick the trail. Jenkins was sticking close to Steve. Steve we kept in the center, especially after he hurt his knee. But we all were doing a particular role. But we need to make sure that we're breaking down who's doing what better. It's something I learned from that.
Absolutely. And if somebody's going to be on any kind of optics or anything like that takes away their night vision, understand that it takes 20 to 30 minutes for your rods to kick back in to get your night vision back in one eye or both. So that's kind of a big freaking deal because they say, hey, dude, did you see that? And they're like, dude, I don't
see it.
Yeah, I don't see a damn thing. You know?
Boys, would you do me a quick favor?
Yeah.
Would you guys tell them a little bit about Ken Brock? I have to step across the hall.
Yeah.
I'll be right
absolutely.
back.
All right. So our favorite tactical midget, I don't know if he's on tonight. He hadn't texted me, so I don't think he is. But Ken Brock his blades have been heavily featured in DA's books. You'll notice the Ardennes knife is one of the blades. Robbie's got a Scheme Do. I have here one of my favorite knives, and also I love the name of it. It's called the Street Weasel. And then I've got a neck knife. This is called the Neck Scalpel. So the great knives. Ken Brock is he's a veteran law enforcement officer up in South Carolina. His blades are handmade. They're custom made, top quality knives. People are like, oh man, his knives are not that cheap. Well, no, they're not inexpensive because they're absolutely handmade, hand ground. I've been in his shop. Robbie's been in his shop. We've watched how he works and how he does this, and he's a true artisan. He's a craftsman. He takes pride in everything he does to make sure that you get the best product out there. So if you head over to brockblades.com and you use the discount code Cryptid10, that's Cryptid10, CRYPTID10, that'll give you 10% off of your order from him. Look on his site. If you see something that you like and it shows out of stock, shoot him an email. Just shoot him an email, and when he gets that blade back in stock, because he makes different batches, then he'll put you in the queue for that. So because, like I said, his blades are handmade. He makes great stuff, and he puts his heart into it. So brockblades.com.
Definitely. Thank you, boys. That was becoming an emergency.
I'm about to head that way myself and go water the grass.
Code yellow.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I was checking to see if I missed any questions.
No, but yeah, just to kind of expound on it, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback and say, well, why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that? But the reality is, like we said, none of us are experts, and it's not like just because we go out a lot or just because we have X amount of equipment that doesn't make us experts. I mean, we're like DA said, we learn every time we go out. It's not like we know everything there is to know about what you're supposed to do. We obviously we know the basics. Now we may know a good bit more about how to survive if something does happen than some of these people that know more about what to do and what to take and what to film and what not to film and all that kind of stuff. So it's a learning experience. I mean, just like I'm sure if some of these people who are really good at that part of it and they don't know the survival part of it, I personally would rather know the survival part of it, like DA said earlier, than be an expert at the other stuff and not come home to tell the story.
Exactly. Wyatt says they watched Eye Shine for 5 to 10 minutes last week and didn't think to record it. Believe me, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Well, and DA's told that story. He had his phone in his hand when he saw the Dogman in LBL.
Yep. Never even thought to turn it on.
Because
I was so freaked out in the moment, I never even thought of turning on the phone.
Until you're in that situation. And just me, Johnny, Greg, Tyler, we're all sitting there staring at those eyes. Every one of us had a phone. Every one of us had access to something. We were sitting there looking at those eyes looking back up at us. And everybody was just so mesmerized by that. It was just nobody even thought to try to get a camera or turn a phone. Yeah, it happens.
House said, I've had many people ask why I didn't record some of my encounters. Well, I was too focused on trying not to die. Absolutely correct. Steve Panic says, what about investing in a body cam? I'm looking at getting one. Like I said, this is all on our own dime buying this equipment, and some of it ain't cheap.
Steve, I have trouble remembering turning my body camera on for work, much less turning it on out there for that. Because I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, I go out there with, usually I have the Sightings camera, I have my DSLR, I've got a body camera, I've got a GoPro. How many times you see me put that GoPro on when we've been out, DA? A whopping 0, right?
That's right.
We've had it with us.
I've got a GoPro too. I never think to turn it on.
We've had it
says, have y'all heard of an ATN scope?
Yeah, ATN thermal.
Yeah, I'd love to have one.
You got something close to that, though, don't you, Doc? You got something close to that, right?
Yeah, I got a Sig Echo thermal.
My thermal died.
Oh, that sucks.
Yet, we took it out to Joe Bald. Robbie, were you along for that?
Yep.
And I just put batteries in it. And I get out to Joe Bald and go to turn it on. It won't power on. I'm like, this thing won't come on at all. I just put brand new batteries in it.
Man.
So I get home and the batteries exploded in it.
Yeah, that was the first time I came down to Missouri when that happened.
Oh, my God.
We cleaned it out completely. You can put batteries in it. And it'll power on, but then goes right back off. And
see, I had that happen with some equipment I had. So anything that uses like a AA or AAA battery, and this is for you technophiles out there, man, throw a lithium battery in there. The lithium batteries are about 3 times more expensive for AA and AAA lithiums, but they do not explode like a lead acid battery will.
They don't explode.
They do not exploding. But yeah, they don't blow up. They don't corrode your terminals and crap. Because I had a Kestrel wind gauge for my long range setup, and I had left the freaking batteries in it. And Kestrel was cool enough to give me a discount, but it definitely was not cheap. So yeah, get you some lithium batteries versus alkaline batteries, y'all. If you got like GPS, radios, range finders, any kind of optics, anything like that. Put freaking lithium batteries in them. Oh, show.
Oh, show.
Lori, I'll do that. I'll give Doug a call. I've been meaning to give him a call anyway. It's been a while since we've had him on the show. I'd like to get Doug back, so I'll reach out to Doug.
Yeah, last time Doug was on the show, me and Doc was sitting there going,
I know. I know. Me and him were just like taking notes. You know, the whole.
yeah, it's like, boys, y'all can jump in anytime. Doc was like, oh, we're just too busy listening.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, school was in session, boys. So I'm too busy listening, man. Oh, show.
I was the same way. I mean, having Doug on the show and MK Davis on the show. And, when we had Dr. Meldrum on the show, it was 3 times. Dude. I was just awestruck.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Greg House says here in the South, a tweaker will kill you over lithium battery.
Got him.
He ain't lying.
Those Mexican Americans. Yeah.
And Red Devil Lie and that.
That's nasty. Yeah. That's so nasty.
Battery acid stuff. Yeah.
That's so nasty.
Yeah, it's so brutal.
All that.
I saw the aftermath of that stuff when I was working up in Casper, Wyoming, working in the ER up there, and holy crap, man! Whew.
We had some guys, and Ken can tell you this story because it happened in Anderson County, and he was still because it was a long time ago. We had some real, and I might have told this story in your class, Doc. We had some real winners that decided they were going to steal some anhydrous ammonia, and went up and took a empty propane tank and tried to make a connection. And you can make the connection of what happened. One of them made it to the hospital.
The Diego Bravo fan says, did you guys ever see the video from the Prince Edward Island Bigfoot was shot near my home? And could he survive on the island? Absolutely.
Yeah. We had a show on Prince Edward Island.
Yeah. There's lots of sightings on Prince Edward Island. There's other places out on the West Coast too. There's PEI's on the East Coast, isn't it? East Coast of Canada.
Where's that in relation to Snellgrove?
Snellgrove's like in the middle of the country. But there are islands off of Alaska and in Canada, in that bay, that have Bigfoot sightings all the time. There are 2 or 3 islands out there. Vancouver Island has a huge population of Sasquatch. Yeah. So they can survive on islands. They very definitely can, and they've been reported to be very good swimmers.
Angela, they use lithium batteries in cooking meth.
Yeah.
Meth cooking.
Yeah. Anhydrous ammonia will cause what we call as flash pulmonary edema because an means without, hydrous means water. So it's without water, so it reacts with the water vapor.
Basically, you breathe out your blood.
Yeah. And you basically drown on it's dry land drowning. Yeah. Essentially.
Steve Stepanek says, DA, let me know what you think of the videos I sent. I will. I'll forward them to Doc and Robbie so they can watch them too. But I'll definitely let you know what I think.
We'll put some mustard on it.
But ain't got no gas in it.
Ain't got no gas in it.
How much you want for them French fried taters?
Don't got some sweet tea up in there.
We've devolved the sling blade.
Yeah.
It's the first time me and Doc have been able to do our sling blade in months.
Dueling sling blades.
Some folks call it a tourniquet. I call it a leg strap.
I'm in there because I killed me, man.
DA, might I say your beard is looking absolutely glorious. I saw that earlier. You look like I ought to call you Beauregard. I'm just saying. I mean, I think that ought to be your name right now is Beauregard. So, and Robbie, Forrest. Not like Forrest Gump, Forrest, but. Angie tells me we're going down to Tombstone in October for the Hell Dorado days.
Nice.
For the anniversary of the OK Corral shootout. which was nothing like any of the movies or what you've ever read. It all happened out on Fremont Street, not in OK Corral proper,
Yeah.
actually.
OK Corral was like more like an alley, wasn't it?
It really was. It was a corral, but there was an alley there. But yeah, it happened out in the streets. And Doc Holliday like shot some dude right through the face with a 45, and he shot another dude with a 12 gauge. But yeah, she said my mustache is docking. Anyway, sorry, I digressed.
Thanks
You know, that's something we ought to do a show on the ghosts of Tombstone.
I have EVP from the bird cage.
Let's do that then. Let's do a show on the ghosts
Well,
of Tombstone.
I'm gonna tell you what. We're gonna be doing another tour with the same lady down there. I'm taking all my equipment with me, and so I'll see if I can get more EVP because we actually had a whistle coming from underneath the Birdcage Theater where all the cribs and the card game was going. Then there was nobody else in the theater there. I also got groped by a soiled dove at the morgue where they used to hold all the bodies. Interesting.
Yeah, we should definitely do a show on just Tombstone.
Yeah, we could do that. I'm going down there in October, so I'll come back and make sure we have some evidence because we're going to be down there for 5 days.
Speaking of October, in October, Robbie and I are going to be at a Bigfoot conference in Greenville or Greenfield?
Greenville, Ohio.
Greenville, Ohio. Let me grab the link to that, and I will post the link. What's it called again?
Spirit of the Forest, I think.
What dates is that, Robbie?
October 10th through the 12th, I believe. I think that's it.
Yeah.
10 through 12?
Yeah.
Pine Knot Yoder. He went to Doc Holliday's grave in Colorado a few years ago. But is it really Doc Holliday's grave? He may have been spirited back to Griffin, Georgia, and buried next to his father by his cousin, who he's supposed to go and practice with to be dentists. Just saying. Interesting. 10 through 12. I might be able to make that, boys.
That would be awesome.
Because we've got a class in Scottsdale, Arizona that weekend, but one of my other instructors is covering that one. So,
dude, that would be awesome to have you up there for that.
I might be able to. I'm gonna see how long it takes me to drive up there, or maybe I could drive up to Springfield. Me and you could just convoy up there, DA, or carpool. Yeah. I might actually be able to go to that.
That would be freaking awesome.
Yeah, that'd be rad.
So if you guys are going to be in that area in October, get your tickets and come see us because I'll have my books there. I'll have some of the wild hunt patches there. It reminds me I need to order more of those.
Oh, okay.
I need. I'll be speaking at the conference. Robbie's going to be teaching a class on tracking. I'll be helping him with that. We're probably also going to do a class on evidence collection. So if you guys are going to be anywhere near the area, we'll try to share some knowledge and some stories and
and they'll DA will have books and there'll probably be some other stuff there on
and if I'm there, I'll bring some med kits
and med kit accessories.
There
might be, depending on how big that little town is. I ain't never been there, but there might be maybe the night before the convention. There might be an appearance of 3 weird guys at a local restaurant where folks could sit down and eat and swap stories.
I'll sell med kits and med kit accessories. Damn it, Bobby, get that tourniquet off your neck. You're scaring Ladybird.
Grab my hand, Doc. They'll swarm to me.
I knew you were gonna do that. I was waiting for that. No, that would be fun. I think I might be able to do that, man. How far of a drive is it from you, DA? From
about 6 hours, 6 or 7 hours.
Okay, so it's 10 hours for me to get from here to your house. From last time I drove that, so I could drive out there like the day before, and then we could just head out the next morning and meet Robbie there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be freaking awesome.
Sick. Oh, and Greg House said, did y'all know Pat Garrett was born in Alabama? I do. And one of my friends, whose name is Levi Garrett, not the chewing tobacco, is actually kin to him and lives in College Station, Texas.
Roxanne, yeah, I'll try to have patches by then.
Do you need me to get John at Combat Swag to get you some more stuff going?
Yeah, get with me after the show and tell me how much it's going to cost, because right now,
I don't know.
It's a little rough.
Yeah, I don't know, and it probably all depends on the quantities, but we'll talk about that offline.
Right.
We'll talk about it offline. We got 5 minutes left, folks, so ask us some questions.
Axe away.
Medical or tracking or cryptid or ballistics or sharp stabby stuff. Anything like that. That's not bad. Oh, and if ED can be there, that'd be cool too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Get to see him, hang out with him a little bit. Yeah, I mean, that's a cool thing. If y'all can come out there, we would love to see y'all, because we see you here in the chat. But if you can come out there and see us there, then we can get some interaction with y'all, hang out with y'all, and put honestly putting the face to the name is just awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know. Brian Barber, did Pat Garrett really do it, or Billy live? I think Billy lived, man.
I do too. I think the Brushy Bill Roberts story is true.
I do too. I've been in Lincoln County, New Mexico a few times, and that's Billy the Kid territory, and a lot of folks down there.
Myself.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks down there, brother. You know it, because you grew up in Clayton, home with Charmaine James.
I went to grade school with her. I doubt
Really?
she'd remember me.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, we were in the same grade.
That's freaking cool, man. Wyatt, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Michelle, Doc, what is a good med kit for a wilderness first aid for Girl Scout camping? Whew. How many people we talking about? I don't know. I mean, if you're looking for boo-boos, look at the Ouch Pouch. If you're looking for trauma plus boo-boos, look at the Ouch Pouch Plus. I mean, those are some of the kits we have. But check them out. If you have a question, shoot me an email.
If you need a kit for a camp, I would look at getting the one with the plastic case.
Yeah, the hard case.
The hard case is a big one.
Which was featured in the latest Jack Carr novel, Red Sky Morning. I know, wasn't that cool?
Awesome.
So, ghostly, was it Lisa Smith? Ghostly soiled dove equals STD, spiritually transmitted diseases. No, and it's so funny because my wife watched, it was on a laser grid, and my wife watched a hand go from the back of my head down my back, down to my buttocks, and it literally felt like I had static electricity tickling my ear, my back, and my booty. So yeah,
that tickled me right directly in the buttocks.
It tickled me on the buttocks. It felt like something bit me.
Very cool. Yeah. Yes, the barrel racer. Charlene was a world champion barrel racer.
Yeah,
I went to grade school with her, but I seriously doubt she would remember me.
Oh goodness. Yeah, 50 camp participants. Man, shoot me an email to Kerry, Kerry, at darkangelmedical.com, and we can talk offline. Brian Barber, what kit for a Bigfoot researcher in the woods alone? Carry the dark kit.
Yeah, I'd say at least the dark kit.
Yeah, carry the dark.
Darker spear.
Yeah, darker spear. Either one of those are the two I would recommend. And those are covered by HSA, FSA, and that Cryptid 2.0 works for that. So Michelle, Kerry at darkangelmedical.com. Just shoot me an email and I'll get you. We can talk offline. Because I used to be the medic at a Boy Scout camp up in Starkville, Mississippi. Camp Seminole, I think, was the name of the place. When I was in the Air Force, I would go up there and take a permissive TDY for 3 weeks, and would do that. And yeah, I needed a lot of Band-Aids.
Dawn, the 28th is the Ozarks Mountain Bigfoot Conference. That's here in Springfield, Missouri. I just posted the link to it. You guys can check it out. I still don't know if I'm going to be at that one. I haven't bought my table yet. I haven't really had the money, so it's kind of up in the air. Not whether or not I'll be there at that one. I'm not one of the speakers there, so I would just be a vendor. So maybe, maybe not. I haven't decided yet.
Which leads me to this. Y'all go to Amazon, check out D.A. Roberts' profile there, and you can get a chronological order of all of his books, starting with Ragnarok Rising, which is where he and I actually met. And
2012.
2012, absolutely. And if you have read the Wild Hunt, the Lakeview Man, the Dark Frontier series, read his other series as well, and do yourself that favor and go pick those books up, because you know it just as well as I do, as Robbie does. They're page turners. So go get those books and check them out.
Thanks, Doc. Appreciate you.
You're welcome, man.
And if you enjoy the back and forth between me and Doc, then you're gonna enjoy Dark Frontiers. Just saying.
I think I did a pretty good job of capturing that.
You captured the essence, brother. You really did. Because I remember when you would send the previews out to us, and me and Robbie would be like, "Holy crap, dude! He literally, that was our conversation the other night."
I'm pretty proud of the scene where Doc, Jed, and Wild Bill Hickok all meet.
Yeah, and then Jed was like, "Damn, there's two of them."
Doc texts me, he says, "I read that, and that I read it in your voice."
Dude, I read it in your voice because, okay, answer me this: do you not read the book in our voices?
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. I read the books in our voices. That is for sure. So
100%. And there was only one voice that Hickok's character was spoken in. The tactical midget himself.
No. Oh my goodness, man. Yes. The DA verse is as epic as the Marvel Universe. Absolutely.
Oh, more so. More so.
That.
And having recently seen Deadpool and Wolverine, I can say that strong. Yeah.
I haven't seen that one yet. We just
Oh.
rewatched all of the X-Men movies. Joe,
Oh my God. Well, since Angie's going to be on deployment to Mississippi again for 2 months, that was part of our date night, and so it was amazing. So yeah, that was a great movie. Don Donaldson, Doc, I am reading Ragnarok Rising series saga right now. Man, you're gonna get more and more involved, and the cool thing is you see the character development of all these characters just grow. It's and I'm not blowing sunshine up DA's kilt. He knows I love him. He's my brother, but it is so freaking good, man. And you'll love it. And then David Neal said, "I love how Declan's Doc and Jed go back and forth. Comedy gold there. It really is, man." And
it gets plenty of material.
Oh my God! And if y'all have read his books, starting at Ragnarok Rising, I mean, Man's Marauders, that's one of my favorite science fiction books. I mean, like legit, it's a great freaking read. But if you read his books all the way through, the way his characters develop, holy crap. I mean, how many of y'all do y'all want to see a movie with Colin Farrell playing Logue?
I would like that. I could see Colin Farrell play Logue.
That's who I picture in my mind. When I've read those books, every time Logue's in there, I'm like, dude, I am so picturing freaking Colin Farrell in there. You know, I could see Jennifer Alba. Jessica Alba.
Jessica Alba.
You know,
as as Amanda Sanchez Clark.
Thank you, Sanchez. Yes, and Clark. I could see Chris Pine doing Clark. Something like.
I always kind of pictured Scott Eastwood as Clark.
That too. Yeah, he's a handsome man. He's a very handsome man. Looks like his dad. So, yeah, man. I mean, Lori says I didn't get the ones that I got knowing the chronological order, so I don't want to read until I get the previous ones. And that's absolutely a good way to do it. I'm the same way. But if you read DA's books, even out of chronological order, the good thing is, like most great authors, he'll give you the backstory. So that
you can read any of the series standalone. There is
right.
enough references in there, and I put in a lot of footnotes, like see events and such and such.
Right.
You can read any series standalone, but when you read them in the chronological order, you get a bigger picture.
But the good thing about that is, even if you say you go read Lakeview Man, you're going to get enough of these others. You're like, oh, wait a minute, I got to go back and read this to find out what caused all this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and you may even and if you read the Cry of the Wendigo, or from, you'll know how I really don't like.
One of the we're talking about Lakeview Man. One of the most requested things I get messages from people or emails saying, "Hey, I read this book," or different things. Tell me they enjoyed a book. But one of the most requested questions about the Lakeview Man series is the origin of the shaving thing.
yeah.
If you haven't read it yet, I'm not going to give it away, but a lot of people want to know the origin of that.
I can see where that's a question.
Oh my goodness!
What shaving incident? I hate you too.
Yeah, y'all gotta. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, check those books out, y'all. I mean, it's not only a great read, but I'm a technophile, and the technical detail that he gets to with stuff is awesome. But it's just good old fun, man. It really is. It's just good old fun.
I go to great lengths to add as much realism as I can. When I will clear my desk off when I write a fight scene, and I will have multiple notebooks folded and open, and I will have different, like one team over here, different individuals, and I will write their names down. And every time they expend a round, I put a check mark a little tick mark next to their name, so I know exactly when to make them change a mag.
Nice. And then I'm going to get the inevitable 2:00 in the morning. Hey, fucker, are you up? Because of the firefight, there's going to be a medical scenario.
There's been many conversations with Doc, like, "Hey, if I think I've roped myself into a corner, what do I do here?"
Yeah, and I'll be like, "Yeah,
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, dude, he's pretty much dead, bro.
Yeah, he ain't surviving without divine intervention at this point.
Unless there's some, going on there. Homie's going to be toes down. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a bad day.
There was the night I gave you the odd request. I want to make sure they do die.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh, yeah, they're very dead.
Is this enough? Oh, God, yeah. This is more than enough to kill.
Yes. They've been dead a couple of times now already. So it's a good time, man. It's a good ride, and it's a great ride. If y'all haven't gone on the DA train, hop on the DA train and get out there and read those books. It's just good freaking entertainment. I mean, the world's not getting any nicer, and it'll give you a nice escape, take you to a different place, which is what literature is supposed to do. Takes you to a different place, gives you that escape. And it's fantastic, man.
I tell you, one of the most surprising things out of all of my writing, one of the most surprising things is the popularity of Margolin. He was just meant to be this little idiot that showed up from time to time, and people just love that guy.
We've got to make an embrace the suck patch, man. We really do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We really do. Yeah, and ED, He said, I've had to message Doc a couple of times to make sure I remembered something correctly. And he has. Yeah, he's messaged me and he's like, so what do you think? And I'm like, all right, here's the deal. So, but yeah, it's been an honor to work with these guys and give the little bit of expertise and knowledge that I have to these cats. You know, it's like when Jack Carr wrote me, I was like, or called me, I was like, okay, you know, so, yeah, kind of a cool deal. But I think, man, yeah, Margolin, we need to do Robbie, what do you think? Embrace the Suck patch?
Yep. Well, I've got an on the back of one of the challenge coins. It's got Embrace the Suck on it.
Have you got a file for that? Can you do some graphics and let's work a badass patch, and I can send that to my patch dude.
Yeah.
And I think that would sell. Would y'all buy an Embrace the Suck patch, guys, out there in the audience? I think Embrace the Suck would be freaking awesome. Yeah, and a T-shirt. I mean, we could do a T-shirt with the same graphics through like Teespring or something.
Yeah. Well, I've already got my Teespring store set up. We're getting ready to change it over to Square. No, not Square. I can't remember what it's called.
Stripe.
But, Noah knows that he uses it. But the merch is better quality and they get it to you faster.
Okay.
Teespring is pretty good, but it takes them forever to get you the stuff.
Well, I think we could look at if Robbie can get me the graphics, what I can do, I can send them to the patch guy, and we can do like a 2-inch by 3-inch size patch or a 3x3 patch, PVC patch. I think that would be badass.
I agree. That would be pretty badass.
Yeah.
Marlon says, "Embrace the suck."
Yeah, embrace the suck. We could always do another one, you know, raspberry jelly and a razor.
Some lip gloss.
Yes,
raspberry preserves and a beard trimmer.
I forgot about the lip gloss. Yes, That's always important. Oh man, what an evening! What an evening!
It's been a good night, boys.
Always is, y'all. Always is.
Folks, just an FYI, I will be out of town this coming Wednesday, so there won't be a show this coming Wednesday, but we'll be back next Saturday night. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Same bat crazy guys.
Greg House says a Bohica patch.
Oh my God, we made one of those in the desert. It was a bootleg patch.
Bend over, here it comes again.
Dude, we literally had a Bohica patch on one of our mini deployments because we were just like the Bohica crew. So
most people don't realize there are multiple levels to that. It's Snafu, Tarfu, Fubar, and Bohica.
Fubar and Bohica.
Yep. Snafu, Tarfu, Fubar, and Bohica. Yep.
Situation normal. All fucked up. Things are really fucked up now.
Fucked up beyond all recognition.
And bend over, here it comes again.
Yep. Yes, sir. We appreciate y'all. Just want y'all to know that.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank y'all for being part of the DA Ex MachiNation, the DA universe, the DA verse. It's an incredible privilege to be here and sit with y'all and talk about this stuff and have y'all interact with us. And if you're going to be in the Greenville, Ohio area this fall, we'd love to see y'all.
Yep.
Folks, we're kind of winding things down. We're at the end of the show where we generally talk about the 22 a Day Foundation. We lose 22 veterans a day to suicide, and that's 22 too many. Mark your calendars for the 22nd of every month and make that the day you reach out to everybody. You know, the 22nd is a great reminder, and you can reach out to those that you know that have worn a uniform. And it's not just limited to veterans or active duty military personnel. Any of your first responders have dealt with the same thing because PTSD is nasty, and it takes no prisoners. Don't let these folks fight these battles alone. Let them know somebody cares about them. Reach out. You never know. That 2 a.m. "Hey fucker, you awake?" text like I occasionally send to these guys might be what holds somebody off the edge. And check on the ones you don't think need it, because generally those are the ones that need it the most.
Amen.
And as we wind things down tonight, we're we're going to end the show on a toast, which we've been doing here lately, and I know you all know it, but it's something I'm kind of proud of and something I want to keep doing for a long time to come. It's an old song, an old Irish drinking song called "The Parting Glass." But when you listen to the lyrics, it's not talking about just ending the day at the bar. It's talking about raising a glass to those who are no longer here. And that's something that we take very, very, very seriously here, because we've all lost somebody under that folded flag. And these drinks are for them. So it doesn't matter what you're drinking, just grab something. Had to lift a glass with us as we toast out the show to the parting glass. But since it fell into my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. Good night, everyone.
Slancha.
Slanja.
Thank you for joining us. Catch us again Wednesdays and Saturdays on Ex Machina. A special thanks to all our channel members and Patreon supporters. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe.